What's the dumbest conspiracy theory you've heard? A college geology professor told us that America tried to assassinate Castro by inventing a hand lotion that would only kill black people. A white agent put the lotion on his hand and tried to shake Castro's hand. He believed all sorts of crazy things. I don't remember much about geology, but his conspiracy theories were amazing. Amazing that the CIA could develop a secret lotion that only killed black people but couldn't find a newspaper photo to show them Castro wasn't black. That China sends over agents to drive terribly during rush hour traffic to mess with America's economy is a discreet but impactful way. Okay, this one is stupid but I'm interested. It's not so much dumb as it is funny. Lava is delicious and scientists are telling us it's dangerous because they are keeping it all for themselves. Actually, yeah, it's very dumb and very funny, hahaha. Sounds a lot like how rocks are normally soft but tense up when we touch them. My dad heard this one. Once the country hits 90% COVID vaccination, the vaccine will have an implant added. Then everyone who didn't want to get the vaccine will be fully trackable and controllable. So you should get the vaccine before the country hits 90% fully vaccinated if you want to keep your mind your own. That's Olympic level gymnastics. Holocaust denial. That one is actually very disturbing because it's very cruel, but it also enables all other genocide denials too. IDK, how sick of a person you have to be to deny the deaths of millions of people. I'm conflicted between the flat earth one and the entire vaccines give you autism ones. Mostly because what's the benefit of keeping the shape of the world from us? And what's the benefit of giving everyone autism? I saw one from some dumbass who said we didn't live in 2017. That was when I saw the theory, but in 1721 BC apparently some dumb fucks German historians discovered some crap that made it a fact apparently. If this is correct, RN we live in the year 1725 opening the gates to 1726. Happy New Year, brothers. The year number we are in right now is just that, a number. As long as we all agree on the number to use, it's all fine. I can't imagine the trouble it would be though to change the year to suit some ancient finding. Stars ain't real. All astrological data has been manufactured to keep us from knowing the truth. Apparently there's nothing beyond our atmosphere but endless darkness, and what lurks in the darkness? Space vampires. Yep, space vampires. Apparently they would descend on us in a global blood drinking orgy if the government hadn't put up a network of genetically engineered bioluminescent garlic cloves in orbit to keep the cosmic bloodsuckers at bay. Stars ain't real. I read this as stairs ain't real and was very curious to see how one might explain away the strange transition from downstairs to upstairs in most buildings. JFK is alive. Wait, he supports Trump. Just wait, was pretending to be Keith Richards, not done yet, and was going to announce this in Dallas on the grassy knoll. Elephants are actually horses painted grey and buffed up with a radiation-coated virus. I think the person who made that up was injected with a radiation-coated virus. Literally nothing about canon made sense. There's a band of secret patriots saving the country while Jeff Sessions, Rex Tillerson screw things up daily. Trust the plan. Seemed like a companion piece to the Russian scare to keep people docile and or activated in stupid ways. Story time. Had a guy come up to me and my buddy while we were eating at Gold Star. First thing this guy asks is if either of us were married. We said no and he told us to never get married because women in the US have too much power and freedom. I look over at my buddy like, oh boy, here we go. This guy goes on to tell us that when he was our age, he wanted to fly to Japan and live there. I asked him why and he said because the women in Japan are much more submissive. He wanted to buy a katana in case his wife ever acted up. At this point I really want the guy to leave and was trying to drop hints so that he would leave us alone. He doesn't catch a hint and surprisingly and goes on to ask about our political views. I tell him I don't really have much of a view on politics right now, mostly because I don't understand enough to really have an opinion. He says, "Welp, all I want to say is don't trust Obama. Obama wasn't even in office anymore." I stupidly asked why again. At this point I don't even care anymore, but I figured I'd let this guy get it out of his system and hopefully he'd leave. He tells us how Obama wants to put a chip in your forehead. If you refuse the chip then you are forced to get in line and wait to be executed by a frickin' guillotine. I say, then just get the chip. He thinks about this and then tells me anyone who gets the chip will burn in heck for eternity. Needless to say, I was pretty well speechless, and then the dude says, "Wanna hear my Beavis and Butthead impression? Unbelievable. I recently stayed at an Airbnb in a rural town in WA state and my host was scared that I was vaccinated. Yes, she thought I was a danger to her because I was vaccinated and she was not. She was convinced my vaccine particles would travel through her sewage system and infect her. She told me I only had a few years to live also. She also was in circles of people who believe Mark Zuckerberg is a lizard trying to take over the world. The vaccine stuff is stupid, but I can kind of see her point about Zuckerberg. Flat Earth definitely takes the cake. There are a lot of conspiracy theories out there that can't necessarily be disproven, so they are just extremely unlikely. The flat earth idea is just plain stupidity. We have overwhelming and publicly available facts, studies, pictures, and empirical evidence proving the earth is donut shaped. From what I understand, flat earth originated as satire about hollow earth. Yes, we are actually inside. SpongeBob is funded by George Soros to subtly teach children that it is okay to be stupid, so that the liberal educated elites can more easily dominate the US economy. The fact that Squidward was made an annoying character was done so to foster anti-intellectualism in children. You don't want to be like Squidward. That's funny given the fact that any adult watching SpongeBob could probably best relate to Squidward after all. You know that heel stick they do on newborn babies to draw blood, to test for PKU and other rare genetic diseases? That's actually the implantation of a microchip. Heard that since the 1980s. I asked some OB nurses about that, and they said it wasn't true, but I already knew that, and they'd heard it before. I almost hate to bring up one so recent, but those nuts who think JFK Jr. faked his death, or is going to resurrect, and is coming to give the presidency to Trump. Even if JFK Jr. somehow came back, how would he have control over who is president? Magic. These people, for all their screaming about Satanism and magic, believe in magic more than any other group I have ever seen. People were lining up in Dallas waiting for the dead son of a dead president to come along and pronounce a former president to be king. IDK if this counts as a conspiracy theory, but I was in my freshman year of a small Christian high school during the 2011 earthquakes in Japan. The day after they happened, a pastor came into our school and had a meeting with all of us, and explained that the earthquakes were God's way of seeking vengeance upon Japan for the sins they planted in the earth when they bombed Pearl Harbor. He then proceeded to draw a diagram of sins being literally planted underground, and the sun pushing out waves that resulted in earthquakes. My parents withdrew me from the school pretty much immediately. The aliens caused global warming because they are trying to acclimate our planet to their preferences for when they take it over. Yeah, and then they'll send monsters through a trench in the ocean to kill us. So we'll make giant robots and get in duels for survival. Saw a documentary about it. Pacific Rim. Great stuff. That Hitler didn't kill himself in 45, he just went through a secret door in his Fuhrer bunker and went inside the earth and lives there with humans twice our size and plans a new war. This was probably the dumbest crap I've ever heard. In Austria, the crazy conspiracy people warned the people who demonstrated against the COVID rules about government workers who hide in the canalization and vaccinate demonstrators from the sewer gates. Also in Austria, people ate horse anthelmintic thinking it would make them immune. In Germany, the Querdenker, conspiracy guys, warned about vaccine mosquitoes who vaccine the demonstrators. It's a whole crap show here. There also have been conspiracies about Merkel being a Satanist, etc. The government was behind COVID all along to brainwash us, and the vaccine is them putting tracking devices into us. My mom. Bill Gates buying the majority of potatoes farming land that supplies McDonald's their fries. A lot easier to put some wild vaccine in the French fries than get folks to fight over a shot. The moon is an alien spaceship and the aliens came here to colonize the earth because their planet died. They started on the island of Atlantis and lost the ability to travel back to the moon when it sank. The people aliens of Atlantis fled to the 5 continents as separated races. I saw it on the paranormal channel of Pluto TV. Any of the global conspiracies or conspiracies that would require countries that don't get along to agree to a narrative, especially if that narrative involves one country looking good. Flat Earth, anti-vaxxers, moon landing hoax, chemtrails. Years ago, some college did a study about conspiracy theories and found out as more people got involved in a conspiracy, the chances of it staying secret diminished exponentially, and once you got up past something like 20 people, it was basically impossible it wasn't gonna go public. With that in mind, consider the moon landing. Consider how many scientists and government officials, and the camera crew, if you believed the conspiracy, would have to keep that secret. Also consider that Russia confirmed it, and if there was even a sliver of a chance we had faked it, our direct rivals in the space race would still be pushing that narrative today. For vaccines and chemtrails, you'd need the scientists who designed these things, vaccines and planes respectively, to all keep their mouths shut. You're already talking about thousands of people, along with literally every world government. Think about that. Every world government, North Korea and South Korea, Israel and all the countries surrounding it that hate it, Russia and the US, all agreeing to push this narrative and keep this big secret so they can, what? Track citizens better? Many of them already do that effectively. Feed populations various chemicals? There's more efficient ways to do that. Flat Earth might take the cake though, because not only would it have to be a global conspiracy involving every single world government, and countless people who have seen the curve of the Earth firsthand, but ancient civilizations had that crap figured out before humanity understood things like germs and a function of your anatomy. It's just so jaw-droppingly stupid. That politicians come from a planet called Nibiru. Spelling may be off as well as any sort of accuracy, and I simply don't care enough to check. I saw the dumbest TikTok with a girl saying that pandas aren't real. She was 100% serious. She cited Reddit and Facebook as her sources. She said there's no history on them when that's simply not true. The microchip in the COVID vaccine. I've usually heard this one whilst someone is using or holding a smartphone. I mean, everything the gov might want to know about you is already in something most people can't live without today. There's your microchip in your hand, bank account, medical records, location, what you ate for dinner last night, your Amazon order for hemorrhoid cream, anything. My English teacher from high school was convinced that cows were never meant to be cooked and consumed, and that they are actually the reason that people get cancer. She talked about some documentary called Cowspiracy that she learned it from. Cowspiracy does exist. It's a movie about animal abuse in slaughterhouses. I haven't seen it, but I'm not convinced they said cows aren't meant to be eaten. Then again, it's vegan propaganda. The Illuminati. I just find it hard to believe there's a secret society of high celebrities that take time out of their lives to make us believe certain things on the media. Like, what's the point? I think it's comforting to believe someone knows what's going on and it's all part of a plan. Better than we're all stuck to this crazy rock zipping through space and where hairless apes behave irrationally all day every day. That the moon isn't real. So TBF, I think I started this one a few years back. I was egging on people who thought the moon landing was fake. I took it a step further and said, you believe in the moon? Really? And came up with all this bonkers crap about how could the moon possibly be real, that this giant chunk of perfectly round rock just happens to be orbiting. It's clearly a large projection or a skybox etc, and so many people bought it. Haven't heard it in a while, but I generally don't subscribe to browsing conspiracies. Coronavirus something stupid something stupid something stupid Bill Gates something stupid something stupid something stupid microchips. Microchips in vaccines to track your every location. In reality, people pay a lot of money to have the latest tracking device to share photos and tweets with all their friends and family. That Trump won the election. Fucktards. Go read the court transcripts. They were basically laughed out of court, and now the attorneys might get disbarred for their stunt. If that's the case, then he can't run again in 2024 since he supposedly won twice. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.